Good morning and welcome into the Mueller Sports Report. I am your host, Jared Mueller, and welcome into the first Morning Mueller Report. So this is going to be a little bit different. This will be very short, but what I'm looking to do is to provide some morning content for folks, whether it's just on their drive in, while they're working out, whatever it is when they first get into the office, especially here on a Monday morning. And so the plan is that this will be added to a YouTube channel so you can actually see what Mueller looks like in the morning while I'm sipping on my coffee with a little bit of caramel creamer and sugar. Tasted so good this morning. So hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And again, the morning Mueller report will just be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I will say, based on some stuff that's hopefully coming down the pipe for the OBR, the Orange and Brown report, where I do my Cleveland Browns writing. I won't be spending a ton of time on Brown stuff. Maybe a little bit here and there, less newsy, more overall kind of stuff. But again, the real thought here is just to have some morning time with you. Maybe my voice wakes you up. Maybe it puts you back to sleep. Maybe it makes you want to turn the radio to something else to wake you up. But whatever it is, hopefully you enjoy a little bit of the Mueller report in the morning. So, and I'll probably call it about 17 different things because I've been rolling through, whether it's the morning Mueller Sports Report or the Mueller Sports in the morning, all that kind of stuff. So, or the Mueller Mornings Report, all kinds of different things. But either way, here we are and here we go. So, really starting with a very simple concept, and that's as I drink my coffee, I don't know if you're like me, whether coffee is a placebo effect or what it is, but there are actually times where I feel like if I drink a nice 10, 12 ounces of cold water, it has a similar effect, at least short-term and really long-term, as coffee does. And so I know coffee has caffeine and I put sugar in mine and those kind of things. Obviously, those things are real things, but I think what's interesting for me is how much I allow myself to become dependent on caffeine. Like I tell myself I need caffeine in the morning or I need caffeine in the early afternoon or whatever it is, instead of just trying to figure out what is best for me. And so I think a lot of times water actually can help kind of push things through, refresh me, wake me up, kind of those kind of things. And so I should probably do a better job of just trying to, not what I want, but what I need, right? And I think if we really talk about ourselves in society and sports and family and friends and all of that kind of stuff, if we focused far more on what we need instead of what we want, I think we would end up in a better place. I know I would. Right. Those of you who follow me on my Instagram stories, know that I'm there, primarily for anything related to health, working out primarily or basketball, those kind of things. And it's really kind of a twofold process, similar to kind of this, is that, at first it inspires me, right? If you guys expect things from me in the morning, I'm more likely to give those things in the mornings, right? I don't get paid to do these things. And so I have to find other motivations to do my Instagram stories or to do these podcasts. And so you guys expecting that can help motivate me. And then the other part of that is hopefully I motivate you, right? If I can get up at 5:30 in the morning, 5:45 in the morning, do a couple things and then jump on a podcast for 15 minutes, then maybe it makes you go, man, maybe I can get that laundry done, which is actually what I did. I put away some laundry and those kind of things, made the bed, and that did our morning Lenten reading that my wife and I are doing together, talking about, we don't read at the same time, but because we have one book, but I did a couple of those things, and now I'm down here recording, and then I'll go upstairs, get a shower, get ready to go, and head on to work for my 8 o'clock appointment that I have. So, same thing with Instagram. I've started putting up that I'm going to work out or I'm at the gym or little videos, those kind of things. And first and foremost, it gives me another reason to go to the gym, right? I'm not the guy who loves working out. Unlike Luke, what's up, Luke? Who loves working out, and it shows. Like, that's just not a thing that I love to do. So putting it up on Instagram motivates me. It pushes me. It gives me a reason. Like, there are people who can go, hey, wait, Jared, you haven't been working out in a while, or you haven't posted it on Instagram. Which one is it? And I don't like to lie, so I'd be like, I haven't been working out yet. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of what goes on there. And so I think it's just interesting. The more we talk about, and I'm about to take a sip of coffee, but the more that we focus on what we need to do, the more those needs actually become more wants, right? Like we tend to want things as if we don't get them right away or we don't get them, then we'll never get them. But I think a lot of times what ends up happening is when we look for our wants and not our needs, we fail our needs and later fail our wants. So I think we tend to go backwards sometimes with that. And so, sometimes sipping on this coffee isn't what I need. And maybe I just need to grab a bottle of water out of my fridge right here, because I have all these different water bottles I refill. No, not the ones from the store that are supposedly going to give me chemicals, but, just my water bottles, Ohio State. There's a red one, there's a green one, there's a Christian one, there's a bunch of different things. So maybe sometimes I just need to grab those, and that's probably what I'll do when I'm done here. So let me take a sip of this coffee. Hopefully you get a drink of yours as we continue into the Mueller Sports Report in the morning. And so we do want to talk a little bit about sports. And so I just came back from the combine, and that can really mess with your body, mess with kind of your sleep schedule, those kind of things. And so I was thankful that based on the schedule, it just made sense for me to come back early, actually have a house guest. And that was a part of that process, is that for my wife and for our house guest decided to come back. And so here I am. But I think what was interesting about the combine, and this is just a little bit of advice for people who want to be in media, and honestly, people in general. It's not just media people. It is just people. And so one of the things that I saw this week, and I know this week, is that two things. One, I would encourage you as you're interacting, we have created this idea that you need to pretend like you know everything, right? You have to present as an expert on everything. When the reality is that I think how I've been able to engage people and how I've been able to get sources and just get information isn't because I'm this arrogant person who tells them how smart I am. But instead, I try to engage them in their life. I try to engage them where they are, and I try to ask them questions, right? How many people are trying to impress the boss, right? Or impress Peter King when we were at the thing? The reality is that one of the things I encourage young sports people is stop trying to act like you know it all, especially when it comes to the NFL. Here's the thing. As we kind of go into the off season and free agency starts here in a little bit, and then the draft and all of those kind of things, which are my favorite times in a lot of ways, partially as a Browns fan, we've really learned the draft, right? We've learned how the draft works and all the details of the off season and everything like that. The idea that not re-signing Joe Schobert or cutting Olivier Vernon or all of the other things that could happen, bringing Rashard Higgins back, the idea that any of those moves are quote-unquote right or quote-unquote wrong, for me, it just doesn't make any sense, because this is the NFL. First-round picks, 50-50 chance of actually becoming good. Right? And so, teams that you didn't think were going to be good are all of a sudden good. Teams that you thought were going to be good all of a sudden aren't. Like, that kind of stuff happens in the NFL because it's not easy. It happens in the NFL because the NFL is not some black and white, simple way of success. And so while I think letting Joe Schobert walk, I don't love it, I think it's important to understand that you and I and Andrew Berry and the GM that signs Joe Schobert, all of them are still guessing, right? And if the people at that level are guessing, how much more are we with the lack of information, right? So we can see everything on the field. We can do film studies. And let me tell you, with people like Jake and people like Jonathan at the OBR, doing film study that will blow your mind, especially for our subscribers, even doing all of that, we don't know medicals. We don't know personality. We don't know background. We don't know locker room. We don't know all of those things. Even our insider, Lane Atkins, who, if you're a subscriber, make sure you go to Rumor Central. There's about 15 things from him. I think there's like 4 or 5 from me. But even Lane Atkins, who knows as much as you can possibly know about the inner workings of the Browns, don't know a lot of those kind of things. And unfortunately, we act like we do. And when we act like we do, what we do is we put off people, right? People know that the NFL is not black and white. There's no simple answer. People understand that. And so I would encourage you, just as you walk through life, or specifically when we talk about sports, realize this idea of black and white, this idea of right and wrong is a little bit of a lie. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot of it. And so it's something that when I go to the NFL Combine, people know me because they know me as a person, as a caring person, as someone who they know that I understand and know sports and those kind of things. But the most important thing in life isn't that people think you're smart, right? It's that saying, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And I think that's an important thing. Today's society, today's sports, all of that kind of stuff. And I think if you take that to heart, right? If you guys on Twitter, you guys on Facebook, you guys in our forums at the OBR, whatever it is, if you take that to heart and start having an honest conversation. So instead of attacking, which let me be honest, there are times where I get really frustrated with people. I feel like I'm consistent and persistently seeking out what I'm talking about here, but there are times where I fail, where I get really, really frustrated that someone is attackative. I get really, to be honest, I get frustrated with arrogance. I get frustrated with people who believe they know that they are quote unquote right. Versus just the ability to say, I don't have them ranked that way, or I would prefer they kept them. I don't like that they are treadmilling talent. Lots of things like that where you add the reality that it is your opinion. Or if you have some kind of grading system or ranking system, just adding that. Based on my grades, based on my rankings, based on my numbers, whatever it is, compared to those things help show that you realistically understand that you don't have the answers. And I think that, more than anything else, can help you, can help me get through each day, especially here on a Monday morning. And the final thing in the Mueller Morning Sports Report, again, I told you I'd call it about 100 different things, is I'm really looking forward to the Indian season. I absolutely know why everybody is frustrated. The Corey Kluber money hasn't been reinvested. Lindor is going to leave. That's just the way it is. But I'm really looking forward to this Indian season because I think the lack of expectations can actually help sometimes. Right, so sometimes when a movie is hyped, it's going to let you down. When that movie is supposed to be the next great thing and all of a sudden you're like, it was okay. Well, all of a sudden you go from, ooh, that was really good to, I can't believe they hyped it up so much, right? And really, a lot of times expectations kind of set in motion how we experience life, right? And so if you have lowered expectations for the Cleveland Indians season because they got rid of Kluber and because of all these little weird injuries, and I know I put something out on Twitter about that. Again, you can get a hold of me on Twitter at Jared K. Mueller. That's JaredKMueller. About the injuries and those kind of things. And I know they're not big, but the reality is it just seems like it's going to be possibly an injury season, quote unquote. And so it's just funny to look at the Indian season and just say, I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see where this goes. I can't wait to see how some of the young guys develop. I can't wait to see how Franimal does. I can't wait to see, another year of Carlos Santana and, enjoy Lindor while he's here and Jose Ramirez and the young pitching staff and, Clace, who if I'm pronouncing his name right, the guy they got for Kluber when he's back healthy, all that the Indians could become. I'm really looking forward to it. Because I don't have the expectations of a World Series. I don't have the expectations of that they must, do this, and this. And so while I don't think that was the purpose, I don't think that's why the Dolans did what they did, I think it does help me. I remember when I was covering the Cavs through their LeBron times. And I know in the last one, everything was about expectations. No one was happy unless they were dominating. No one was happy unless they showed that they were a great offense and a great defense. No one was happy that they only won the one title because they had a higher expectations. When the reality was that Golden State Warriors team, the Cavs should have beat them in the first year, right? Kevin Love got hurt. Thanks, Kelly Olynyk, jerk. Kyrie Irving got hurt. Thanks, kneecap. When we've seen how injuries have continued to plague him. So then he got hurt. Obviously, the Draymond Green suspension, people in Golden State blame that. And then they brought in Kevin Durant. So the Cavs, the expectations were there. They could have won 2 straight. And if the Warriors honestly didn't get blessed by Steph Curry's hurt ankles early in his career where they could sign him to this ridiculously low contract, wouldn't have had the ability to sign Kevin Durant and have these 4 mega stars to then go ahead and take care of the Cavs, right? So expectations kind of killed the joy of that Cavaliers team. I remember I was sitting in the queue for Game 7 of 2016. So they were out in Golden State, but I was there covering the watch party as media and just wanted to be there kind of thing. And I remember for me, and I still can think this, there was excitement and there was joy, but probably the biggest feeling was a sense of relief. It was over, finally. They did it, right? I remember walking around the city where We Are the Champions is playing and running into Wade Foley and a few other people. I've never met Wade until that point. He just happened to find me walking around the city at that time. But I remember just feeling a sense of relief, kind of a peace. And I think that's because of expectations. I think if that championship came out of nowhere, or that championship came against the 4-headed monster when Kevin Durant was there, where I didn't expect them to win, and I just hoped they would win, I think it would have been different. So the same thing with the Indians. This year, my goal, enjoy it. And that'll be the end of the Morning Mueller Sports Report. I want to encourage you, enjoy it. So enjoy filling your needs. Let your wants come. Focus on getting your needs met. Focus on helping others get their needs met, whether that's family, friends, coworkers, the random stranger on the street, and then worry about your wants. So we take care of each other so we can take care of ourselves. I hope you enjoy your day. I hope you enjoy the Mueller Sports Report in the morning, and I will talk to you soon.